Local news that matters. This is CBS 17 News.
A Hillside High student athlete says she was forced to cut her braids after she was told she broke a rule. Tonight, we are digging deeper into the problem.
The CDC revises its guidelines saying if you're fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask indoors. What does that mean for us in North Carolina? I'm getting answers.
And coming up, local businesses react to the CDC's new mask wearing guidance.
And now, your forecast first from the CBS 17 Storm Team.
Good Thursday night to you. Thanks for joining us here on CBS 17. I'm meteorologist Melissa Lefevre. It was a beautiful day. We saw temperatures in the 70s, much warmer than yesterday. Still below normal, though. After the 30s this morning, we will wake up to the mid-40s tomorrow morning. Still going to have that chill in the air. It'll be bright sunshine, though. And then as we move into the day, we're going to see those temperatures still staying below normal. Approaching upper 60s, lower 70s by lunchtime. Highs low to mid-70s for your Friday. How long do these below temperatures last? I'll have the answer coming up in your full forecast in about 20 minutes.
CBS 17 News, tracking coronavirus.
Today, the CDC revised its mask guidelines, saying people that are fully vaccinated do not have to wear a mask indoors. But does that change things here in North Carolina? Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Angela Taylor.
And I'm Rod Carter. Glad you're here with us. We are getting answers tonight. We have live team coverage from CBS 17's Mackenzie Stasko and Amy Cutler. We're going to begin tonight with Amy.
Yeah, Rod, first to the big question that indoor mask mandate remains in effect here in North Carolina. The governor, though, says he is reviewing the policies that are in place and says he is possibly open to some changes. During a White House COVID-19 briefing, CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky announced big changes. She says those who are fully vaccinated can take part in indoor and outdoor activities and don't have to wear a mask or social distance. It doesn't apply to hospitals, doctors' offices, and long-term care facilities. Also not included, correctional facilities and shelters. You'll still need a mask for planes, trains, and public transportation.
I was hoping it would be a little bit later as we made a little bit more progress.
Dr. David Wall specializes in infectious disease at UNC. I went to him for insight.
Do you believe it's safe to be doing this now?
I think it's safer for people who are fully vaccinated. Safe is relative, and we should all appreciate that. And that's been the whole pandemic. Is it safer for me to go to the store when there's less people there? Yes. Is it perfectly safe? No.
He says he'll keep his mask on indoors and advises those who are immunocompromised to do the same. The state's indoor mask mandate, though, remains in effect, meaning none of this applies to us just yet.
We're going to continue to examine the data and the science and consult with the healthcare officials before making further decisions.
The governor has said 2/3 of adults needed to get at least one shot before he would lift the indoor mask rule. The governor says that they typically follow CDC guidance. He again said that he would be driven by the data and science before making an ultimate decision on the matter. Live in Raleigh, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.
All right, Amy, thank you. Now, local businesses are reacting to the new mask guidance for vaccinated people. CBS 17's Mackenzie Stasko is live in Cary tonight with more on how they feel about this. And, Mac, are some reevaluating their policies?
Yeah, Angela, some are, but a lot aren't. I checked with grocery stores, gyms, hair salons, and there's really a lot of confusion on how this new guidance would even be enforced. So at the moment, a lot of businesses are waiting to hear from the governor before revising their mask policies. But one business owner here in Cary tells me he already has a plan in place. When Delvin Burton heard the CDC's new guidance for vaccinated people, he felt hopeful.
As a business owner, I felt extremely hopeful. Really have been waiting for good news.
With the exception of outdoor classes, let's go! Riders at his cycle bar studio in Cary have been wearing masks since they reopened last June.
But if we have the opportunity to ride here without a mask indoors, I will probably take them up on that just because the cardio is really intense and it'll help me breathe a little bit better while I'm on the bike.
If Governor Cooper follows the CDC's guidance and lifts the indoor mask mandate for vaccinated people, it's unclear how or who will enforce it.
The last thing you want to do is kind of be the vaccination police. Not necessarily what I got in business for.
Grocery stores like Publix, Wegmans, and Harris Teeter are waiting on the state for advice before they revise their policies. Burton's business strategy is to take people by their word and offer options.
My approach, if the mask mandate is lifted, at least initially, is to allow flexibility.
He'll hold maskless classes for people who say they're vaccinated and classes with masks for those who aren't.
You know, whether you're vaccinated or not, you're still a human. And we want to honor the fact that you're a human who is, you know, hopefully chasing health and well-being when you come to a place like this.
And again, until Governor Cooper changes those state restrictions, everyone, vaccinated or not, is still required to wear a mask indoors. Live in Cary, Mackenzie Stasco, CBS 17 News.
All right, Mac, thank you. Now, to get more people vaccinated, the state is considering incentives. Other states are already doing this. In fact, last night at 11, we told you that Ohio announced a vaccine lottery where people could win $1 million. Well, Governor Roy Cooper says that state health officials are looking at what kinds of incentives would be effective. And he tells us that they'll likely roll this out as a pilot program to see whether it actually works before going statewide with it. Right now, it's not clear yet what the state would offer. However, Republican Senate leader Phil Berger says that he thinks incentives in general would be catastrophic.
I think it's important that we do what we can under the law to get more people vaccinated in North Carolina. And yes, the department is looking at an incentive program.
Folks who have not been vaccinated see the state offering a free cup of coffee. They say, well, no, I'll wait until they offer a 6-pack of beer. And then those folks say, no, I'll wait until they offer $100.
All right, people familiar with the discussions about this say they expect an announcement from the Department of Health and Human Services rather soon.
I went to Apex and got one and went to Zebulon. They said it was coming down the line, but you know, it's a good little ways from Texas to here.
Just a little bit. Drivers working overtime to get fuel from the terminal to stations all over North Carolina. And because of this gas shortage, several school districts are going to remote learning tomorrow. Wake County, Durham Public Schools, Franklin, and Vance County Schools all moving from in-person classes to remote learning tomorrow. In Durham, Central Services and school employees will follow the district's inclement weather protocol.
And tonight, the entire Colonial Pipeline system is working and fuel is flowing. However, it's going to take some time before things return to normal. The latest number from Gas Buddy a few hours ago shows 77% of stations in Raleigh-Durham still have no gas. Drivers we talked to today say that they went to several stations before finding one that was actually open, and then they had to wait in line before they could fill up.
I'm good for the rest of this week. My tank is on full, so I just got to try not to go too many places. Right now, I'm going to go home and chill out for the rest of the day.
All right, experts say a good time to fill up if you're trying to avoid those lines is if you're able to do that is really in the middle of the night. CBS News has learned that Colonial Pipeline did pay a multi-million-dollar ransom to the hackers to unlock some of its data, but now that Colonial Pipeline is working now, what is next for that? Right now, the pipeline can only carry one kind of fuel at a time, and it will take time to fill up these storage tanks with products so that the trucks can haul it to your local gas stations.
It's going to take a while for things to go back to normal, so we're still expecting this to be like this for the next 2 weeks at least, maybe 3.
As for the price at the pump, distributors say it's hard to determine right now because wholesale prices are constantly changing throughout the day at this juncture.
Now, with gas so high in demand, the North Carolina Attorney General's office is warning gas stations not to price gouge. Attorney General Josh Stein says his office has already received 622 complaints of price gouging. He says they will investigate each one, but some of those complaints are drivers reporting gas for $9.99 a gallon. He says drivers think that's the actual price of gas, but actually it's not.
And what the sellers are trying to do is signal to people, don't stop, I'm out of gas. But some consumers are worried that's the actual price. If it's that situation, it's not price gouging.
So $9.99 means they are out of gas. Stein is asking drivers to report any possible price gouging to his office. We have a link to do that on our website, CBS17.com. Now, if you need to fill your gas tank, we, of course, can help you. Grab your phone and scan this QR code. It will take you to CBS17.com, where we have a list of tools to help you find gas in your area. A student athlete says her teammates had to cut her hair during a game because of beads in her braids.
Yeah, this story is buzzing on social media, and people are asking, is it discrimination or is it safety? CBS 17's Nick Sturdivant digging deeper for us tonight after talking with the player and with her father. Nick?
Yeah, Rod, the 16-year-old says that she was approached by an umpire about her beads violating policy. She said she had no clue that she was breaking the rules and had no choice but to cut her braids.
April 19th, Hillside High School against Jordan High in softball. At the top of the second, Nicole Piles ran onto the field for Hillside.
My hair is brought up that they can't see my number on the back of my jersey.
This is Nicole wearing box braids with beads.
Because I had a bun in my hair. Some of my teammates took like the 2 of the 4 bands and wrapped the bottom of my hair and stuffed it into my sports bra so I can go play.
But a little later in the game,
the umpire comes up to me or because of my coach and says, well, either you take the beads out or you can't play because it's a safety hazard.
The sophomore says she went back into the dugout and teammates had to cut her braids in order to take out the beads. She said it was not an issue in previous games.
Yeah, all I wanted to do was show them up for what they did to me.
You embarrassed my child. And somebody's going to have to answer for that.
They claim she faced discrimination because of her hairstyle. A CBS News report last year zeroed in on how many black people report similar stories because of their hair, a long source of contention in the workplace and other spaces. In a statement from Durham Public Schools, we support our student and believe this rule should be amended. We frown on any rule or policy that promotes cultural insensitivity. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association says wearing hair beads is prohibited and said in a statement, we empathize with the student athlete and her experience. It is truly unfortunate as we believe this situation should never have occurred.
I want an apology from the whole system.
And you guys, as of this evening, Julius, who you just heard from, Nicole's father, says he has not heard back from the Athletic Association or Durham Public Schools. I do want to point out, back in January, Durham passed an ordinance similar to the Crown Act, which protects people from discrimination for race-based hairstyles, including braids, locks, twists, and knots. Live in Durham tonight, Nick Sturdivant, CBS 17 News.
Again, it's important to note that the policy said no beads. If there's something you want to get answers to, just let us know. Maybe we can help you. Call the newsroom at the number on your screen or send an email to newstips@cbs17.com.
Well, Fayetteville has a new title tonight. It is now one of the emerging dog-friendly cities in the country, coming in at number 11. Charlotte is the highest-ranked city in North Carolina, though, coming in at number 4. And sad for my friends in the room here, but Raleigh didn't even make the top 15.
Really?
Guess
I'm so surprised.
Guess we're not a dog city after all.
Come on, we are a dog. We're going to change that next year, Rod.
Okay, y'all go ahead.
Work together.
I'm getting you a dog.
Yeah, it's your mission, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Melissa.
Well, you know what? Hey, if you're taking the dogs out tomorrow morning, they may need a sweater, and you may need one too. We'll wake up to temperatures in the 40s. Another day, though, where we make it into the 70s, but we're still sitting below normal. Let you know when the 80s return, coming up in your full forecast.
Another fast food chain is raising the minimum wage it pays its workers, but not all workers will see that increase.
The idea is right. Where they were headed is right, but they didn't follow through with that very critical piece.
What happened to millions of dollars in COVID relief funds? We're digging deeper to find out tonight. You're watching CBS 17 News, covering local news that matters.